Thanks for coming to speak to us, Shona. You've got quite an impressive career so far. 2 silvers at the World Junior Championships, and several other appearances for GB. So, how do you feel now that you're at university and like where you're going with the next step in your career?
For me personally, it's always worked quite well having a balance. So I actually took a year out and I really struggled because I kind of sat around all day and then went to training, and it didn't work for me. So I'm obviously now studying at uni and I'm doing there every day, but it doesn't really put me too much pressure. I think if anything it actually aids my performance. So I guess the Kings give it like a good support network as well for us to make sure that we can handle the pressures of school or of uni work as well as coursework as well as training and stuff. So
Yeah, so the pressure at like one of the world's top universities, but still managing to compete at a very high level. So there's a good support network.
Yeah, definitely. It's a bit of a challenge, but obviously they're there when you need them, which I think is really important, and it's quite good for us as athletes as well to know it's there.
Yeah, and obviously they support you academically, but also on the sports pitch and off. And obviously you've had a fair few number of injuries recently.
Yeah.
And how's that been, and how has the funding that you've had helped you to get back to where you are?
Well, the funding in general, like, it's helped me just to get to warm over training, to get me getting what I need really, whether that's a race abroad. But in terms of injury, I've recently had a lot of help through Kings to get a lot of physiotherapy and with a mix of different people, and it's really good for me to meet different people around and have like that available for me as well. So even like last week I asked, can I have a massage? Can I get it sorted out? So some physiotherapy, and within I had a response and treatment within like 3 or 4 days, and like for that, even to book that in London is pretty challenging, let alone to have like good service as well. So it's made a massive difference to me.
Yeah, and do you find that you've learned a lot more about athletics as you've really tried to look after yourself and rebuild?
Yeah, and like even the physio or the massage I had today, they were really engaging with me, and it was fully professional, especially because a lot of them are postgraduate students as well, and I like that as well because they really tune in with my body and tell me about like what I can do to help instead of like directing me necessarily, but just telling me and like giving me some knowledge of my own body. And as an athlete, that's something which sometimes we kind of forget, to stay engaged with how we feel, and so it's quite important to make sure that we have that knowledge there for us to use it when we need to.
Yeah, and I mean obviously you've had a lot of injuries, but I mean, looking back to all the great performances that made your name, is that what you're looking forward to this season or beyond? Or?
Well, it's given me kind of, I guess it makes you kind of hungry as well when you've had an injury, and I like missed out on the Olympics, and like a few years ago I ran the standard and I thought, okay, right, and I almost thought, okay, it's almost 90% sure I want to be going to the Olympics, and obviously injuries happen, and it's how you kind of deal with that, and you get back onto the track and you realise what you want. And for me, that was a bit of a reality check, really, to just get your head back into the game and get back on the track, and I did. So I spent a long time over summer just rehabbing, and that was through Kings helping me out as well as the RRU through British Athletics. And although it wasn't fun being like in the gym and playing with a resistance band for about 3 or 4 hours a day, it's made a massive difference, and like psychologically it's made a difference, but it's just giving me that goal of what I want to do this year and what I want to do in the future, and just making me realise it's not all about this year or last year, it's all about what I can now do in the future as I'm looking at a career pathway, not just a temperamental running career.
Yeah. So you've had a lot of advice from some of the greats, including Perry, Shake Straight, and how have you found that useful?
Well, so it's great for me to actually be able to talk to these people. I remember when I saw Perry at like World Championships, and she was like a massive idol of mine. She's great, and now that I can like meet her in like an everyday situation and actually just engage with her and understand her experiences and kind of use them to help myself. And it's the fact that obviously like she's a great person, she's a great personality, and like I met Kelly Holmes the other day as well, and it's just having all these idols and being able to talk to them and getting like experience through them. And sometimes it's perfect to have someone just to say to you, like, it's okay to be injured, it's okay to have a drawback. Like, that isn't, it's not always about now, just forget. Sometimes you need to think, step back. You know, I might miss this year, I might miss what I want to do this year, but it's all about the future. So even if it's an Olympic cycle, 4 years' time, yeah, I want to go and get a medal there. So why would I put my body through a lot of pain and do something which could jeopardise that for something when I might go to the Olympics and maybe make the semi. So it was like, it gave me kind of a different mindset, and all at the same time it's always helping me out as well to have like uni and stuff like that around it to kind of balance out, so it doesn't just feel like everything's going wrong. I'm still balancing my lifestyle.
Yeah, well, I guess that training smart psychology is a good way to look at it, because then it doesn't put all your eggs in one basket, as it were, and you know, still you are studying at one of the best universities in the UK, so even regardless of what happens, you still have a fantastic you know, degree to fall back on, and you know, I think that's one of the benefits of the athletics world, is that it's not just that there's a huge amount of people behind the scenes who help, and I guess you've had a really big insight into that. So that's, I guess, in a way, reaffirmed maybe your interest in athletics. Perhaps.
Yeah, because even with the like availability to coach, or just I do a lot of talks to young kids as well, and it's just great to see people like on both ends of the spectrum. Some of them who kind of don't really want to do the work, and some of them who really do want to do the work. But you kind of say the same thing to them all and say, you know what, just realise what you want to do, and you stick your head to a goal, and like do it, like whatever you put in, you're going to get out of it. But it's just keeping that mentality throughout. So it's nice to, especially now that I've had a few injuries as well, I can actually say to people like, well, I've had this injury, and I'm now running faster times than I did before I had that injury. So it's not a wall when you hit an injury, like it's just hiccup. A little bit of a drawback, but yeah.
And I mean, I think it's totally true. You always find out how good people are once you actually start working with them, I think. And you know, we're really lucky at King's to have Lloyd Cohen and Conrad Williams to be training the sprint squad now twice a week. And I mean, don't you think that they are, like, having that kind of presence around really will accelerate the program? Yeah,
well, I've worked with Conrad, or I've been at champs with Conrad, and Lloyd has actually motivated me before World Championships, in fact. So he's a great guy, and he's a great coach, and he knows exactly what you need as an athlete and when you need it. And sometimes he'll say, step back, and you're like, oh no, but I want to run. And I actually remember when I was injured, him saying to me, you know what, you're a talent and you're a long-term athlete, and don't kill yourself on the track now, you don't need to. And it was one of the kind of biggest reality checks I've ever had. So to this day, I still completely rate the guy. I think he's a great coach, and just to be, it's right, just to be around that presence and to have that support that this uni is obviously so great that you can get coached at such standards. It's it's absolutely great.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, alongside yourself at the World Championships a few years ago was also Dina and Lavia, who were both at King's. So it's all come together quite nicely.
So it's strange to like be at the same campus and like catch lunch and stuff like that, and knowing that, like, although unfortunately I haven't actually done Bucks Championships yet, but knowing that the team's got such a good vibe, and like that's all available for us. And it's funny that like under 15 I was racing Dina, and now I'm at uni with her, so it's obviously like a great uni and a great support network as well.